Nobody really prepares you for turning 40, and the strange part is, it's not because people don't know. It's because most of them don't know how to explain it. Because what happens after 40 isn't loud. It's subtle, quiet, and if you're not paying attention, you might not even notice it happening until one day you feel like something has changed, but you can't fully explain what it is. And that's where things start to get interesting. Because the truth is, there are things about turning 40 that nobody tells you. And one of them in particular changes the way you see the rest of your life. But we'll get to that in a moment. The first thing nobody tells you is that time starts to feel different. Not in a dramatic way, but in a way that slowly gets under your skin. When you're younger, time feels endless. You delay things. You wait. You tell yourself you'll start later. But after 40, later starts to feel dangerous. And this is where most men begin to feel a quiet pressure, not from the world, but from themselves. Because deep down, they know time is no longer something to ignore. And that realization changes how you think about everything. Your decisions, your priorities, even your regrets. And that's just the beginning. The second thing nobody tells you, and this is where things start to feel strange, is that your priorities begin to shift on their own. Things that once felt important start losing their weight, chasing approval, trying to impress people, comparing your life to others. It all starts to feel empty, and you don't always understand why. At first, it can feel confusing, like you're losing motivation, but you're not. You're evolving, because in place of all that noise, something else starts to grow. A desire for peace, for clarity, for something that actually feels real. And once you feel that shift, it's hard to go back to who you used to be. The third thing nobody tells you is where things start to get uncomfortable. Because this is the moment where many men start questioning their own life. Even if everything looks fine on the outside, even if they did everything right, there comes a moment where a simple thought appears: is this really the life I wanted? And that question is heavier than it seems, because once it shows up, you can't ignore it anymore. And this is where many men get stuck, not because they don't have options, but because they're afraid of the answer. And that fear keeps them exactly where they are. The fourth thing nobody tells you is that confidence changes completely. And it's not what most people expect. When you're younger, confidence comes from outside. Achievements, validation, recognition. But over time, that stops being enough. Real confidence starts to come from something deeper, from experience, from self-awareness, from knowing exactly who you are and what you no longer need to prove. And this kind of confidence is quieter, but much stronger, because it doesn't depend on anyone else. And once you reach that point, you stop chasing things that never really mattered. Now remember what I said at the beginning about the one thing that changes everything? This is it. The fifth thing nobody tells you is that starting over is still possible, even after 40, even when it feels like it isn't. Most men believe that by this point, their life is already defined, that it's too late to change direction, too late to try something new, too late to become something different. But that belief is one of the biggest illusions there is. Because the truth is, many of the most meaningful changes in life happen after 40, not before, because now you finally have something you didn't have back then: clarity, experience, and a deeper understanding of yourself. And if you use that the right way, the next chapter of your life can be the most powerful one yet. Turning 40 is not the end. It's not a limitation. It's a turning point. A moment where life becomes more intentional, where your time becomes more valuable, and where your choices start to truly define who you are, but only if you're willing to see the things that nobody ever told you.